Hi, I'm Will Ware. I'm a pilot at Southwest Airlines. I'm also the EFB administrator. Been working on our EFB project for about 30 months, and our mounting solution is a suction cup. So I think what the iPad EFB program means to Southwest is it's our first venture into the world of mobility for Southwest Airlines. What that provides is other business units that may want to leverage our knowledge base and what we put in a foundational sense for mobility, like flight attendants or maintenance or even down to our customer service agents at the airports, is that they can leverage some of the foundational work that we've done. Mobile device management, how we deploy devices and stipends and things like that. We haven't really bought any particular size of iPad. What we've been approved for is both a full-size iPad, 2, 3, and 4, and a mini. But we're doing a stipend for our approach instead of a corporately issued device. Phase 1 is actually our telling the FAA of what our intention of our iPad program is. Phase 2 is actually the submission of the application to the regulator. Phase 3 is the option for the regulator or the time for the regulator to review your application. And then Phase 4 is the regulator's approval for you to do the interim authorization. Our ultimate goal is Phase 5, when we get approval to completely remove paper. Our deployment process is to deploy our iPads to all pilots, both captains and first officers, and they'll go through a 90-day training cycle, and then we will pick the turn-on date that everyone will be flying with the device. So with a fleet size of about 700 aircraft and 7,000 pilots, we knew that managing this was going to be difficult, and so we decided to deploy an MDM, a mobile device management software. We currently use AirWatch, and we found it to be a very good control measure to be able to not only push our applications, but also manage the devices. Also pretty easily look into a device and help a pilot troubleshoot an issue like, do they have the right version app? We can see that. But that also brings up other things that pilots are concerned about what else can you see on my device? And the answer is nothing. So we are not actively whitelisting or blacklisting any apps. We have a wide open environment, and that was very purposeful because we wanted the device to have what we call carry value. We wanted a personal connection to the device because a personal connection to the device means you're going to take care of the device that much more. So our expected life cycle on the devices, believe it or not, is 4 years. So that's what we think the battery life is good for. But in this fast-changing world of technology, we don't want to extend ourselves over about 3 years. Our project runs 6 years, so effectively we'll have one refresh right in the middle of our project. We have a set of devices at each pilot base, and they're in a cabinet that's locked, and pilots will gain access to that cabinet via contact to a chief pilot. I think our goal is for our pilots to show up with 80% on a battery. So we have a matrix that the pilots will look at, determine their flight time, add some percentage to that, it's 10%, and that's the way that they can do a self-assessment for their battery. The minimum battery for departing is 20%. So we really had two pieces of training. We had the training for our initial deployment, 700 pilots, and we've got the training we're putting together for our 7,000 pilots. Our first training was very siloed. What our pilots told us that things didn't really come together. So what we are going to do for our next training is do more a day in the life. So we'll start the training at home and carry someone right through all day of flying. Typically, we're very siloed as airlines, and we don't share information. And I think sharing that information has helped us a lot. And we encourage that because the more as different operators can share that information and elevate EFB, then we can also help the regulator understand what our needs are to address those in policy. So the way that we engage with our IT department is very basic. We partnered with them from the beginning, because we looked around the industry and we saw flight departments kind of going out on their own and making it. However, if they wanted to come back and leverage the device to do more, they ran into a roadblock because even their IT department said, "You did what?" I think the one key lesson that I have from this project is communication. So not only communication with our pilots and our technology department and every other department that I never really even knew that we would impact. I think the best advice I can give working with your CMO is to ensure that you include all of the members of your CMO, not just your operations inspector, but your avionics inspector and your maintenance inspector. Get everyone in and collaborate often. So I think a best practice about an MDM is ensuring that you partner with your IT department, because at least at Southwest, the EFB seemed to be the first device to go mobile. We didn't want to box ourselves into a corner where the MDM only applied to our project. We wanted to make sure that we partnered with an MDM that could handle all the mobility aspects that we may or may not leverage. So to address this change management, we're using multiple tools of communication. So not only training, but also information through our union and information through our flight ops to help people understand not only what we're doing, but why we're doing it. Our current goal is to remove paper from the aircraft, and that's our primary goal at the moment. I think in the next version, what we're looking for as a company is to meet one of our goals of our project, and that's to increase the pilot's situational awareness without increasing the workload. We want to get the device on the airplane, but then we want to leverage it for more. I think there have been many surprising results of our program. I'll give you one example. Like when we opened up our volunteer list to get our initial deployment pilots, we needed 700. We got over 1,700 people responding, so that was great. But then as we got the 700 actually out flying, to be honest with you, at first there was a little bit of resistance and a little bit of negative feedback. But I'll give you one good example. One of our pilots was going into the hotel room and his mount was in his bag, and he dropped his bag accidentally and he broke the mount. And he emailed me and he goes, "I have to get another mount because I'm going to commit hara-kiri if I have to fly without my IFB."